Hi, welcome to our channel Learn to Score. In this video, we discuss polynomials for class 10th. The topics covered in this video are the following: introduction to polynomials, what are polynomials, degree of a polynomial, value of a polynomial, zeros of a polynomial. The next topic is graphical representation of polynomials. Under that, we discuss linear polynomials, quadratic polynomials, and cubic polynomials. The next topic is relation between coefficients and zeros of linear polynomials, quadratic polynomials, and cubic polynomials. The last topic is division algorithm for polynomials. Under that, we discuss division of polynomials and then division algorithm. Please subscribe to our channel for regular updates. If you like the video, please hit on thumbs up button to give it a like and also share with your friends. Thank you. What are polynomials? Let us consider an algebraic equation, that is f of x equal to ax to the power of n plus bx to the power of n minus 1 plus c times x plus d. Ax to the power of n, bx to the power of n minus 1, cx, that can be written also as cx to the power of 1, and d, that can be written as dx to the power of 0, are called terms of the equation. A, B, C, and D are called coefficients of the equation. The powers of x that are n, n minus 1, 1, and 0 are called exponents. Please take a note of this. The algebraic equations in the generic form, that is f of x equal to an x to the power of n plus an minus 1 x to the power of n minus 1 plus an minus 2 x to the power of n minus 2 and so on, are called polynomials when the coefficients are real numbers and the exponents are positive integers. Please take a note of this. The coefficients have to be real numbers and the exponents have to be positive integers. Then only the given algebraic equation becomes a polynomial. Please take a note of this. Let us learn about degree of a polynomial now. The highest exponent of the terms in a polynomial is called its degree. For example, f of x equal to 2x square minus 5x plus 6 is a polynomial of second degree. The reason is that the term 2x square has got highest exponent, that is 2, right? X square. So that is the reason this particular polynomial is of degree 2. Please take a note of this. G of x equal to x power 4 minus 16 is a polynomial of fourth degree. The reason is x is having power 4, right? F of x equal to 4 is a polynomial. The reason is that f of x can be written as 4 times x power 0, right? So degree of f of x equal to 4 is 0. Please take a note of this. The polynomials of 0 degree are called constant polynomials. So f of x equal to 4 is a constant polynomial. Please take a note of this. Degree of f of x equal to ax plus b is 1. So the polynomials of degree 1 are called linear polynomials. Degree of g of x equal to ax square plus bx plus c is 2, right? The polynomials of degree 2 are called quadratic polynomials. Please take a note of this. Degree of k of x equal to ax cube plus b is 3. Please note that polynomials of degree 3 are called cubic polynomials. Let's learn about value of a polynomial now. Let us consider a polynomial, that is f of x equal to x square minus 6x plus 3. If x equal to 2, f of x can be written as f of 2, that is equal to 2 square minus 6 times 2 plus 3. What we have done is we have substituted 2 in the place of x in the given polynomial. When you simplify it, what you get is f of 2 equal to minus 5. Similarly, if x equal to 9, then f of x can be written as f of 9, that is equal to 9 square minus 6 times 9 plus 3. When you simplify it, you get f of 9 as 30. Please take a note of this. So now we can say that value of f of x equal to x square minus 6x plus 3 for x equal to 2 is minus 5. That can be written as f of 2 equal to minus 5. Similarly, value of f of x for x equal to 9 is denoted using f of 9, that is equal to 30. Please take a note of this. So to define value of a polynomial, we can say the following. If f of x is a polynomial and a is a real number, then the value of polynomial f of a is obtained by replacing x of f of x with a. This is what exactly we have done, right? Let's learn about zeros of a polynomial now. Let us consider a polynomial that is p of x equal to x square minus 2x minus 3. If x equal to 3, then p of x can be written as p of 3 equal to 3 square minus 2 times 3 minus 3. When you simplify it, you get p of 3 equal to 0, right? So now we can say that 0 is the value of polynomial p of x for x equal to 3, or in other words, we can write it as p of 3 equal to 0, right? If x equal to minus 1, then p of x can be written as p of minus 1, that is equal to 0. It means 0 is the value of polynomial p of x for x equal to minus 1, or in other words, we can write it as p of minus 1 equal to 0, right? If x equal to 2, then p of x can be written as p of 2 equal to 2 square minus 2 times 2 minus 3. When you simplify it, you get minus 3 as the answer. It means p of 2 equal to minus 3. Minus 3 is the value of polynomial p of x for x equal to 2, or in other words, we can write it as p of 2 equal to minus 3, right? Since p of 3 equal to 0 and p of minus 1 equal to 0, we say that 3 and minus 1 are zeros of p of x. So to define the zeros of a polynomial, we say that if f of x is a polynomial and a is a real number, then a is called 0 of f of x if and only if f of a is 0. Please take a note of this. Let's learn about graphical representation of polynomials now. Let us consider a linear polynomial f of x equal to 2x plus 3 and tabulate data of f of x for various values of x. I have considered x equal to minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2 and 3 and calculated values of f of x for all these values of x. When x equal to minus 2, f of x can be written as 2 times minus 2 plus 3, that is equal to minus 1, right? When x equal to minus 1, f of x can be written as f of minus 1, that is equal to 1. F of 0 equal to 3. Similarly, f of 1 equal to 5. F of 2 equal to 7. F of 3 equal to 9. When you tabulate all this data and plot them on a graph paper, you get a figure like this. F of x equal to 2x plus 3 is shown as a straight line in the red color. Please take a note of that. Please remember that the linear polynomial, when you plot it, you get a straight line. And as you see here, f of x becomes 0 at x equal to minus 3 by 2, right? It means we can write it as f of minus 3 by 2 equal to 0, right? So now we can say that minus 3 by 2 is only 0 of f of x equal to 2x plus 3, because for no other values of x gives f of x equal to 0 other than minus 3 by 2, right? That's why we say that minus 3 by 2 is only 0 of f of x equal to 2x plus 3. Let's now compare 2x plus 3 with another linear polynomial, that is ax plus b, so that you can say a equal to 2 and b equal to 3, right? From the learning we have, you can say that 0 of the polynomial ax plus b is minus b by a, right? Let's take a look at another linear polynomial, that is g of x equal to 5x plus 5, and tabulate data of g of x for various values of x. Here I have considered x ranging from -2 to 2 and tabulated data of g of x such that we can plot the g of x equal to 5x plus 5 on a graph paper. When you observe this figure, you can say that g of x becomes 0 at x equal to -1, right? It means g of -1 equal to 0. Or in other words, we can say that -1 is the 0 of g of x equal to 5x plus 5, right? We have learned that 0 of the polynomial ax plus b is minus b by a, right? When you apply this particular formula, you can say that 0 of 5x plus 5 is minus 5 by 5, that is equal to -1. This is exactly matching with the graphical representation of the 0, right? Even in the graph, we see that x equal to -1 is the 0, right? That is what we get when you use the formula of minus b by a. And another point I would like you to remember is linear polynomials will have only one 0. Let's take a look at quadratic polynomials now. Let us consider a quadratic polynomial, that is f of x equal to x square minus 3x minus 4, and tabulate data of f of x for various values of x. I have considered x equal to -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and tabulated values of f of x for all these values of x. That varies from 6 for x equal to -2 to 6 for x equal to 5. So when you plot that data, you get a figure like this. In this figure, f of x equal to x square minus 3x minus 4 is shown using red colored curve. So when you are plotting a quadratic polynomial, you get a curve which is looking like a parabola. Please take a note of this. From this figure, you can see that f of x becomes 0 at two values of x, right? For x equal to -1, it is 0, and for x equal to 4 also it is 0. It means -1 and 4 are the zeros of f of x equal to x square minus 3x minus 4, right? Let's take a look at another quadratic polynomial, that is minus x square minus 2x plus 3. When you tabulate data for different values of x and corresponding f of x and plot them, you get a figure like this. As you see here, this particular figure, the curve in red is crossing the x-axis at 2 points, right? Those are -3 and 1, right? So we can now say that -3 and 1 are zeros of f of x equal to minus x square minus 2x plus 3. Let's consider now another quadratic polynomial, that is f of x equal to x square minus 6x minus 9. When you tabulate data for different values of x and f of x values and plot them, you get a figure like this. In this figure, you can observe one thing. Here, the red colored curve that is corresponding to f of x equal to x square minus 6x plus 9 is touching the x-axis at only one point, right? That is at x equal to 3. So now we can say that 3 is the only 0 for f of x equal to x square minus 6x minus 9. Let's take a look at another quadratic polynomial, that is 2x square minus 4x plus 5. When you plot this particular polynomial, you get a figure like this. Here, you observe that this particular curve, the red colored curve corresponding to the f of x polynomial, quadratic polynomial, is not touching or crossing the x-axis, right? The curve doesn't touch or cross x-axis. It means that f of x equal to 2x square minus 4x plus 5 has no zeros. Please take a note of this. So let's recall what we have seen. X square minus 3x minus 4 has two zeros that are -1 and 4. X square minus x square minus 2x plus 3 has two zeros Those are minus 3 and 1. And we have also seen that x square minus 6x minus 9 has only one zero, that is 3. And we have just seen that 2x square minus 4x plus 5 has no zeros, right? When you observe all these, what you can say is quadratic polynomials have two zeros at most. They can have no zeros. The quadratic polynomial can have only one zero, or at max or at most it can have two zeros. Please take a note of this. Let's go to the cubic polynomials now. Let us consider a cubic polynomial, that is f of x equal to x cubed minus 4x, and tabulate data of f of x for various values of x. I chose x equal to minus 3 to 3, a range of values, and tabulated the corresponding f of x values. And when you plot this particular data, you get a figure like this. In this particular case, the red colored curve is the cubic polynomial x cubed corresponding to the cubic polynomial x cubed minus 4x, right? As you see here, the f of x has three zeros because this particular curve, the red colored curve, is crossing the x-axis at three locations. Those are minus 2, x equal to minus 2, x equal to 0, and x equal to 2, right? That's why we say that f of x has three zeros. Those are 2, 0, and minus 2. Please take a note of this. Let's consider another cubic polynomial, that is f of x equal to x cubed minus 4x square. When you tabulate data for f of x for various values of x, you get a table like this. I have chosen x equal to minus 2 to 5 and tabulated the values of f of x for all these values of x. And when you plot it, you get a figure like this. The red colored curve corresponding to x cubed minus 4x square is either touching or crossing the x-axis at only 2 points, right? It means that this particular polynomial will have only two zeros. Those are 0 and 4. Please take a note of this. So based on this, what you can now say is cubic polynomials can have three zeros at most. Please take a note of this. Now let's learn about number of zeros of polynomials. We know that linear polynomial can be written as f of x equal to ax plus b, right? Its degree is 1. And we have seen that linear polynomials will have only one zero, right? And we have seen quadratic polynomial can be written as ax square plus bx plus c. If you observe, its degree is 2, right? And we have seen the quadratic polynomials can have at most two zeros, right? And for the case of cubic polynomial, that is ax cubed plus bx square plus cx plus d, the degree is 3. And we have seen that the cubic polynomials can have at most three zeros, right? Now, I can say that degree of polynomial is defining the maximum number of zeros possible. In other words, I can say a polynomial of degree equal to n can have at most n number of zeros. Please take a note of this. Let's learn about relationship between coefficients and zeros of polynomials now. Let's begin with linear polynomials. Let us consider a linear polynomial, that is f of x equal to ax plus b. And assume that beta is the zero of f of x. It means f of beta equal to 0, right? So we can write a beta plus b equal to 0. When you rearrange this, you can write it as beta equal to minus b by a, right? It means 0 of f of x equal to ax plus b is beta equal to minus b by a. Please take a note of this. And we have seen 0 of f of x equal to 2x plus 3 is minus 3 by 2. And we have seen 0 of linear polynomial 5x plus 5 is minus 5 by 5, that is equal to minus 1, right? When you observe all these, what you can say is 0 of a linear polynomial is equal to negative of constant divided by coefficient of the variable. In the case of f of x, the constant is b and coefficient of the variable is a, where variable is x, right? Please take a note of this. Let's go to the quadratic polynomials now. Consider a quadratic polynomial, that is f of x equal to x square minus 3x minus 4. We know that quadratic polynomial can have at most two zeros, right? From this figure, you can say that minus 1 and 4 are the zeros of the given quadratic polynomial. This is a graphical way to find zeros of quadratic polynomials. One can even make use of algebraic methods to find zeros of quadratic polynomials. For that, one has to factorize f of x. Let us use split the middle term method to factorize f of x. The middle term in this case is minus 3x, right? Minus 3x can be written as minus 4x plus 1x. And the other two terms are minus 4 and x square, right? Their product is minus 4x square. So minus 4x square can be written as minus 4x times 1x. It means that f of x equal to x square minus 3x minus 4 can be written as x square minus 4x plus 1x minus 4. So we have split the middle term minus 3x as minus 4x plus 1x, right? If you take x as the common factor from first two terms and 1 as the common factor from last two terms, then you can write f of x as this. Now you can take x minus 4 as the common factor from both the terms. So when you do that, you can write it as x minus 4 times x plus 1, right? Let me now write f of x equal to x minus 4 times x plus 1. If you assume that beta is a 0 of f of x, then f of beta equal to 0, right? It means f of beta equal to beta minus 4 times beta plus 1 equal to 0. This particular equation holds true when beta minus 4 equal to 0 and or beta plus 1 equal to 0, right? When beta minus 4 equal to 0, you get beta equal to 4. When beta plus 1 equal to 0, you get beta equal to minus 1, right? It means minus 1 and 4 are zeros of the given polynomial. So what you have learned now is one can use algebraic method. By factorizing the given quadratic polynomial, one can get zeros of the quadratic polynomial, right? Please take a note of this. And let us consider another quadratic polynomial. This is generic polynomial, p of x equal to ax square plus bx plus c. And we know that quadratic polynomial can have at most two zeros, right? Let's assume that alpha and beta are the zeros of the given quadratic polynomial p of x. If you recall the previous example, we have seen that from the graph, we have seen that minus 1 and 4 are the zeros of f of x equal to x square minus 3x minus 4, right? And using the algebraic method, we have factorized f of x as product of x plus 1 and x minus 4, right? Let me rewrite x plus 1 as x minus of minus 1. When you do that, you can say one thing. You know, I have minus 1 and 4 as zeros of the given polynomial. And the minus 1 and 4 are shown in the factors also, right? It means f of x can be written as x minus first 0 times x minus second 0, right? If that is the case, since I have said that alpha and beta are the zeros of p of x, I can write p of x as x minus alpha times x minus beta, right? Instead of writing just like this, what I do is I write p of x as k times x minus alpha times x minus beta, where k is a constant. Please take a note of this. This is done for convenience sake. Now let's multiply this. For doing that, what I'll do is first let me multiply x minus alpha with x minus beta. For that, when you multiply x minus alpha with x, you get x square minus alpha x. And now you multiply x minus alpha with minus beta such that you get minus beta x plus alpha beta, right? Let's take this back into the previous expression so that k times x minus alpha times x minus beta can be written as k times x square minus alpha x minus beta x plus alpha beta. Let's take a note of this and rearrange this so that p of x can be written as kx square minus k times alpha plus beta times x plus k alpha beta, right? Earlier we said that p of x equal to ax square plus bx plus c, right? So let us compare these two polynomials. When you compare the first term, that is x term containing x square, you can say that kx square equal to ax square, right? Since both the functions are p of x only, we can say that a equal to k. And when you compare the terms containing x, you can say that b equal to minus k times alpha plus beta, right? And compare the last terms so that you can write c equal to k times alpha beta, right? We have shown just that a equal to k. It means b equal to minus k times alpha plus beta can be written as alpha plus beta equal to minus b by a, right? And the last expression c equal to k times alpha beta can be written as alpha beta equal to c by k. It means alpha beta equal to c by a, right? Alpha plus beta equal to minus b by a. When you observe p of x equal to ax square plus bx plus c, b is quotient of x and a is quotient of x square, right? It means alpha plus beta equal to sum of zeros equal to negative of quotient of x divided by quotient of x square, right? Let's take a look at alpha beta equal to c by a. This means that product of zeros is equal to constant divided by quotient of x square, right? Please take a note of these two formulas. Let's try an application problem based on that. Find zeros of f of x equal to x square minus 4x plus 3 and verify the relation between quotients and zeros. Just now we said that sum of zeros can be written as negative of quotient of x divided by quotient of x square, right? It means for f of x, you can write sum of zeros equal to minus 4 divided by 1, that is equal to 4, right? And product of zeros is defined as constant divided by quotient of x square. It means it is 3 by 1, that is equal to 3, right? X square minus 4x plus 3 can be factorized, can be written as x square minus 3x minus x plus 3 when you use split the middle term method. And you can factorize such that you get x minus 3 times x minus 1. So x square minus 4x plus 3 equal to x minus 3 times x minus 1. It means zeros are going to be 3 and 1, right? Now let's take sum of these two zeros. Sum of 3 and 1, that is 3 plus 1 equal to 4. This is exactly matching with the result we have gotten using the formula, right? Sum of zeros equal to minus of quotient of x divided by quotient of x square. That formula gave you answer 4. When you sum the zeros, that time also you get the value, same value, right? Similarly, let's do product of zeros. Zeros are 3 and 1, their product is 3, and it is exactly matching with the result obtained from the formula, right? So now we can say that the relation between quotients and zeros for the quadratic polynomial, whatever we have just written, those are verified, right? Let's go to cubic polynomial now and obtain relationship between quotients and zeros. Consider a cubic polynomial, that is p of x equal to ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d. We know that cubic polynomial can have at most 3 zeros, right? Let's assume that alpha, beta and gamma are the zeros of p of x. If you have alpha, beta, and gamma as zeros of a cubic polynomial, then that can be written as x minus alpha times x minus beta times x minus gamma, right? When you multiply the first two terms, you get an expression like this. And now you multiply x square minus alpha x minus beta x plus alpha beta times x minus gamma, so that you get an expression, lengthy expression like this. You rearrange it such that it can be written as x cube minus alpha plus beta plus gamma times x square plus alpha beta plus alpha gamma plus beta gamma times x minus alpha beta gamma, right? If I say that my p of x is not just product of x minus alpha, x minus beta, and x minus gamma, instead, if I say that p of x equal to a times x minus alpha times x minus beta times x minus gamma, then the whole expression can be written like this. Here I am introducing a for convenience sake. You compare this with now p of x equal to ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d. When you compare the terms containing x cube, then what you get is a equal to a, right? For this reason, we have multiplied the previous expression with a. Please take a note of this. Now, when you compare the terms containing x square, what you can say is b equal to minus a times alpha plus beta plus gamma, right? It means alpha plus beta plus gamma can be written as minus b by a. So we can now say that sum of zeros equal to negative of quotient of x square divided by quotient of x cube, right? In the p of x expression, ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d, b is quotient of x square and a is quotient of x cube, right? That's why we have written sum of zeros equal to negative of quotient of x square divided by quotient of x cube. When you compare the terms containing x, then you can say that c equal to a times alpha beta plus alpha gamma plus beta gamma, right? It means alpha beta plus alpha gamma plus beta gamma equal to c by a. This can be written as sum of the products of zeros taken two at a time. It means we are taking alpha beta gammas in pairs, right? Alpha beta ones, alpha gamma ones, and beta gamma ones, right? That's why we say that this is sum of the product of zeros taken two at a time is equal to c by a, that is equal to quotient of x divided by quotient of x cube. Please take a note of this. When you compare the constant terms, you can say that d equal to minus a times alpha beta gamma, right? It means alpha beta gamma equal to minus d by a. This can be written as product of zeros equal to negative of constant divided by quotient of x cube, right? These are the three formulas we are getting for cubic polynomial. The relation between the coefficients and zeros for cubic polynomial are these. Please take a note of this. We'll try to solve an application problem based on this. Verify that 1, minus 1, and minus 3 are the zeros of the cubic polynomial x cube plus 3x square minus x minus 3. Cubic polynomial can have at most 3 zeros, right? So 3 of them are given. We have to see whether they are zeros or not. We have to verify first. And then we have to check the relationship between zeros and the coefficients. Whatever relations we have derived just now, we have to check whether those relations are holding true or not. That is the application problem. We said that we want to verify whether 1 is a zero of the given cubic polynomial or not. It means if I take x equal to 1 and substitute in the cubic polynomial given, then and simplify it such that you get answer 0. It means that when you substitute x equal to 1, the value of polynomial is becoming 0. It means x equal to 1 is a 0, right, of the given cubic polynomial. Similarly, let's check whether x minus 1, x equal to minus 1 is a 0 of the given cubic polynomial or not. For that, what we do is we substitute x equal to minus 1 into the given expression, And when you simplify it, you get 0 again. It means x equal to minus 1 is also a 0 of given cubic polynomial. Let's check what happens with minus 3. When you substitute x equal to minus 3, you again get 0 as the answer. It means 1, minus 1 and minus 3, all three are zeros of given cubic polynomial, that is x cube plus 3x square minus x minus 3, right? It means we have verified that 1, minus 1 and minus 3 are the zeros of cubic polynomial given, right? So we are done with the first step. We have to now verify the relationship between zeros and coefficients. Since the zeros are known, those are 1, minus 1 and minus 3. Let's first compute their sum. Sum of zeros is minus 3. Let's get sum of the product of zeros taken 2 at a time. When you substitute 1, minus 1 and minus 3 in pairs, then you are getting the answer as minus 1. It means sum of the product of zeros taken 2 at a time is minus 1. Please take a note of that. And then product of zeros is 3, right? Now let's recall the formulas we have derived just now. Sum of zeros can be written as negative of coefficient of x square divided by coefficient of x cube, right? Coefficient of x square is 3, so it is going to be minus 3 divided by 1, so it is equal to minus 3, right? So it is exactly matching with sum of zeros we have obtained just now, right? Similarly, let's recall the formula for sum of the products of zeros taken 2 at a time. The formula is coefficient of x divided by coefficient of x cube, right? Coefficient of x is minus 1 and coefficient of x cube is 1. It means sum of the product of zeros taken 2 at a time is minus 1. That is exactly matching with the value we have obtained using the zeros, right? The product of zeros is negative of constant divided by coefficient of x cube. Substitute the values of constant and coefficient of x cube such that you get 3 as the answer. That is exactly matching with product of zeros obtained as 1 times minus 1 times minus 3 equal to 3, right? It means that we can now say that whatever formulas we have derived for sum of zeros, sum of the product of zeros taken 2 at a time, and product of zeros, all three formulas are verified, right? Please take a note of this. Let's learn about division algorithm for polynomials now. Prior to that, let's do some division problems. Let us divide polynomial x square minus 4 by x plus 2. For that, we'll write x square minus 4 as x square plus 0x minus 4 as shown here, and draw a line and write x plus 2 on the other side of the line as shown here. The first step involved is we have to consider terms of highest exponents in dividend and divisor. In the case of dividend, it is x square, and in the case of divisor, it is x. So we divide x square with x so that you get answer x. This x has to be written at the top over the line. Okay. Then the next step involved is you multiply divisor with x so that you get x square plus 2x as the answer. This has to be subtracted from the previous term or the dividend. When you subtract, what we do is when you want to subtract, we simply change the sign of terms in the expression below and sum them. When you sum, you get minus 2x as the answer, right? Bring down minus 4 so that the expression we have now is minus 2x minus 4, right? If you observe, minus 2x has got highest exponent. It means we have to divide minus 2x with x so that you get minus 2 as the answer. This minus 2 has to be written at the top next to x so that the expression at the top becomes x minus 2 now. The next step is we have to multiply divisor with minus 2. When you do that, you get minus 2x minus 4 as the answer. This has to be subtracted from the previous expression. When you do that, what you get is 0 as the answer, right? In this case, x square minus 4 is called dividend, we know that. And x plus 2 is called divisor. X minus 2 is called quotient. And 0 is called remainder. It means dividend can be written as divisor times quotient plus remainder, right? For this particular problem, we can say x square minus 4 equal to x plus 2 times x minus 2 plus 0, right? When you have remainder 0, x plus 2 and x minus 2 are going to be factors of x square minus 4. Please take a note of this. Let's solve another problem. Divide polynomial 2x square plus 3x plus 1 with x plus 2. The first step involved here is we have to consider terms of highest exponents in dividend and divisor, right? So 2x square and x. When you divide 2x square with x, you get 2x as the answer. That is part of your quotient now. And now multiply the divisor with 2x such that you get 2x square plus 4x as the answer. That has to be subtracted from the dividend. When you do that, you get minus x as the answer. Now bring down plus 1 so that the expression you have is minus x plus 1. The term which has got highest exponent in this case is minus x. So let's divide minus x with x so that you get minus 1 as the answer. This minus 1 has to go as the part of quotient. So the quotient now becomes 2x minus 1. And let's multiply the divisor with minus 1 such that you get minus x minus 2 as the answer. That has to be subtracted from the previous expression. When you do that, you get plus 3 as the remainder, right? It means 2x square plus 3x plus 1 can be written as x plus 2 times 2x minus 1 plus 3, right? Please take a note of this. Let's solve another division problem. This is divide x power 4 minus 5x plus 6 with 2 minus x square. We write the dividend as x power 4 plus 0x cube plus 0x square minus 5x plus 6. And divisor as minus x square plus 2. So first step, we have to find terms of highest exponents in dividend and divisor. X power 4 and minus x square. You divide them so that you get minus x square as the part of quotient, and multiply the divisor with minus x square and subtract that from the previous expression, that is dividend. When you subtract that, what you get is 2x square, and bring down minus 5x plus 6 so that the expression you have is 2x square minus 5x plus 6. Here 2x square has got highest exponent, so let's divide 2x square with minus x square. The answer you get is minus 2. This is part of quotient. Now the quotient has become minus x square minus 2, right? And now multiply the divisor with minus 2 and subtract that from the previous expression. When you subtract, you get minus 5x plus 10 as the answer. Here, if you observe, minus 5x has got degree 1, whereas degree of the divisor is 2. That's why we stop the process here, the division process, and say that minus 5x plus 10 is the remainder. So when you express dividend as product of divisor times quotient plus remainder, x power 4 minus 5x plus 6 can be written as minus x square plus 2 times minus x square minus 2 minus 5x plus 10, right? Let's now go to division algorithm for polynomials. You recall the polynomial division problems we have solved just now. X square minus 4 can be written as x plus 2 times x minus 2 plus 0. 2x square plus 3x plus 1 can be written as x plus 2 times 2x minus 1 plus 3. And the other problem we have solved is x power 4 minus 5x plus 6. That can be written as minus x square plus 2 times minus x square minus 2 minus 5x plus 10, right? Let's see what is the degree of divisor for all these problems. In the case of first problem, this is 1 because x power 1. In the case of second problem also, the degree of divisor is 1. In the case of third problem, the degree of divisor is 2, right? Now let's take a look at the degree of remainder. Here remainder itself is a 0 for the first problem. It means degree of remainder is 0. In the case of second problem, remainder is 3. It means degree of remainder is 3x. 3 can be written as 3x to the power of 0, right? So degree of remainder is 0 here. And in the case of third problem, degree of remainder is 1, right? When you observe this, we said that dividend can be written as divisor times quotient plus remainder, right? If I denote dividend using p of x and divisor with g of x and quotient with q of x and remainder with r of x, then we can write it as p of x equal to g of x times q of x plus r of x, right? From the problems, whatever we have looked at, we can say that degree of remainder r of x is always less than degree of divisor, right? Another thing we have noticed is in some cases r of x itself is 0, right? For the first problem, r of x itself is 0 and degree of remainder is also 0. This is what is called division algorithm. If p of x and g of x are polynomials with g of x not equal to 0, then we can find polynomials q of x and r of x such that p of x equal to g of x times q of x plus r of x, where r of x is 0 or degree of r of x is less than degree of g of x. This is what is called division algorithm for polynomials. Please take a note of this. Let's now take a look at an application of division algorithm. Let's divide 3x square minus x cube minus 3x plus 5 by x minus 1 minus x square and verify the division algorithm. The first part is we have to divide the given polynomial with x minus 1 minus x square. The second part is we have to verify the division algorithm, right? The first part is a simple division problem. We have to divide minus x cube with minus x square. When you do that, you get x as the answer. That has to be part of quotient. And now multiply divisor with x and subtract that from the dividend. When you do that, you get 2x square minus 2x as the answer. Now bring plus 5 down. Now we have to divide 2x square with minus x square. Then you get minus 2 as the answer. This is part of quotient. And then multiply divisor with minus 2 such that you get minus 2x square minus 2x plus 2. That has to be subtracted from the previous expression. When you subtract, what you get is 3 as the remainder, right? It means dividend is minus x cube plus 3x square minus 3x plus 5. Divisor is minus x square plus x plus 1. Quotient is x minus 2 and remainder is 3, right? Let's take a note of that. And let's quickly recall the division algorithm. We can find polynomials q of x and r of x such that p of x can be written as p of x equal to g of x times q of x plus r of x, where r of x is either 0 or degree of r of x is less than degree of g of x, right? Let's find the expression for a divisor times quotient plus remainder. That can be written as minus x square plus x minus 1 times x minus 2 plus 3. When you do multiplication, you get a lengthy expression like this. You simplify it such that you get minus x cube plus 3x square minus 3x plus 5 as the answer. That is exactly equal to your dividend, right? It means dividend equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. This is what exactly the division algorithm is saying, right? The other part the division algorithm is talking about is degree of remainder is less than degree of divisor. In our case, remainder is 3, its degree is 0, and degree of divisor is 2. It means degree of remainder is less than degree of divisor, right? Hence, we can say that division algorithm is verified. Please take a note of this. I hope you like the video. Please give it a like and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to our channel for regular updates. Thank you.